guys, I'm Magda.
And I'm Cruz.
And welcome back to another episode of the Sin Vergüenza podcast. I hope everyone's doing good. I'm nervous, Cruz.
I know, this is a hard topic. Really.
Nervous. Not necessarily nervous, but it's just, I feel like it's gonna work up some of my emotions and I shouldn't think too hard about it and let's just do it.
Okay.
But we are going to be talking about why we're so hard on ourselves for this episode. And I feel like being a female, we have like a lot of pressure on us already. And society already puts like a lot of expectations on us.
Norms.
And I feel like for the most part, at least in my opinion, I think most of it comes from those type of expectations from society that just makes it even harder for us females. I know I sent you a
draft.
Yeah, a draft to kind of give you a heads up for this episode. And honestly, like I told you off camera, I didn't really, like I sent it to you, but I didn't, I tried intentionally not to think too much about it because I wanted it to be the most natural and sincere here on the episode, just because it is a touchy subject for me because the years like leading up to me being diagnosed with PCOS and going through it, like the waves of it, there was a lot of ups and downs, and those downs were very low for me mentally and like emotionally and like so many levels. And I feel like even right now I'm at a way better spot like mentally and emotionally. But I still have my days every now and then. So I feel like that's why this is a very like touchy subject for me, because I feel like it's going to dig up some emotions in there.
Or even like remembering those times when you were struggling, it does make, well, for me, it makes me emotional because I was looking at the draft and like it has like questions to like kind of make us think. And it really got me thinking. And it was, honestly, I am really hard on myself.
Really?
Like, I am really hard on myself. So, and like one of the questions was, where do you think it came from, or how did it start? And it really got me thinking, like trying to, going back in my memories, and like it was really tough. And yeah, do you think? Well, you didn't look at the answers, like the questions, right?
I did. I did like come up with the questions and send it to you, but I didn't try to think too much about them, just because I feel like I know for the most part where mine comes from, and like I said, I just didn't want to think about it in that moment. I'm curious though.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Because you said that do you feel like you're started from like childhood?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like I really got into my memories because I've always been so hard on myself since I was like little. And I feel like it doesn't come from like pressure from my parents, but I feel like it's social norms that gave me that pressure to be so hard on myself, trying to be someone that I'm not, just because that's what other people would like for me to be, you know? So I feel like that's where I think it comes from. But yeah. Where do you think, well, you said you know where it came from, but where do you think it came from for you?
I feel like same from my childhood. And I know I've said this in previous episodes. There was a lot of, like, I feel like my childhood, I wouldn't necessarily say it was an awful childhood, but there was a lot of, or let me not say it like that. I feel like there was a lack of, how do I say it? And when I say this, like, I want to be completely honest, and I don't want it to sound like I'm pointing fingers and blaming anybody for, the way I am. But I feel like I really didn't get poured into in a positive way, like words of encouragement.
Affirmation.
And like, affirmation and just like positivity, And al contrario, like on the contrary, I feel like I got poured more in like doubts and like insecurities and lack of abundance. So I feel like that's where it kind of comes from. And then also um being we kind of everything's tied together, it's not something like, oh, okay, it just comes from this or it just comes from this
No.
specific point. It's just like a mixture of like different experiences and different feelings and stuff. And that's why I can't blame it exactly on like my childhood. There's so many things that pours
Led
into
up
it.
to it.
Yeah, because even being a first gen immigrant here, like that, we are already hard on ourselves there too to fulfill certain expectations that you know our parents have for us or that we put on ourselves sometimes without
Yeah.
even anyone telling us, just because we think that that's what they want from us. So that's why we put that pressure on us.
Yep.
So I feel like it's just a mixture of all of that. And I can't really pinpoint, oh, okay, it was at this point or I was at this point. It's just a mixture of things. And I feel like for the most part, I knew how to handle it pretty well.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like for the most part, at least growing up, like my childhood up to like being a teenager and like my early 20s, I feel like I knew how to handle it pretty well. But honestly, like I go back to like my mid 20s, I want to say like probably like from like 23 years old to probably about 27, 28 years old, like those 3 years of my life, like those were really bad for me. Really bad. Like emotionally, mentally, and just how hard I am on myself. I know I'm just ranting at
No,
this
you're
point.
not ranting. You're not ranting. No,
um,
I'm listening to you.
but yeah, I feel like that's kind of where my mind goes to whenever I try to think about, oh, okay, where exactly does this come from, or where did I notice that it increased? Is with those type of experiences.
I don't know. This is a question. It might not make sense, but like during those times where you were like, it actually hit you and you were going through that rough patch, did you have like people that helped you get through that rough patch?
Darian.
Really?
Yeah. Darian. And I feel like I feel bad because I feel like I'm so hard on myself to the point where like I project that onto other people too. So like me being hard on myself, and I've said this to you before too, you and your sister, like me being hard on myself, I catch myself doing that with other people too. And it's usually people that are close to me.
Yeah.
That it's like, and I see this a pattern in other people too, where it's like a lot of the times you treat yourself or you treat others the way you treat yourself too. In a way, you kind of project that onto other people sometimes. And I feel like that's where like it hurts me the most, is like seeing how I can be so hard on myself to the point where I'm hard on other people and I see how it impacts them. And I'm like, yo, that's not healthy. And the way my brain thinks is like, if they're reacting the way they're reacting because of my actions, because of how hard I can be on them, it's valid why I feel the way I feel sometimes because of how hard I
You're
am
doing
on
to
myself.
yourself. Yeah.
Can you relate? Do you feel the same? Like, do you feel like you have certain feelings or certain expectations for yourself that sometimes get projected onto other people?
Oh yeah, a lot. May not don't know exactly how to like pinpoint because like for me, I hide that. Like I don't know if it makes sense, but it's like I hide those feelings where I try not to let other people see them, which is you can clearly see them though. But I try, I'm really hard to myself that I feel like I'm numb. I've become numb to it. Yeah. And it makes me realize how like I've always been so hard on myself and I don't necessarily have other people telling me things or um it's just I guess the way I've always treated myself. And but I've always tried to not project that to other people. Kind of how you said it might project onto other people. I'm the complete opposite to other people. I'm like, don't do this because you're hurting yourself. But on the contrary, I'm actually telling myself the opposite. So I'm hurting myself, but I'm like telling other people, don't do this because it's wrong. So it's kind of like a me, myself, my own enemy.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, a lot of people probably, do that to themselves because that's how I am too, and that's actually a tactic that I kind of like to keep in mind is if my little brother, like somebody that I care about, comes and tells me and like opens up to me in that type of way, how would I respond to them? How would I want to respond to them? And because I know I said, I can be hard on other people, but I feel like that in those moments, it comes from a buildup.
Yep.
It comes from a buildup whenever I am hard on someone else. It's not always. It's just, it's like a buildup, or it's like something that I might see in them. And I'm like, I get frustrated because I'm like, yo, like you're so much better than that.
It's like your cup's already full and then it just has that one drop and it's over, like spills.
Yeah. Yeah. And how you said too, like for me, I can relate to like the support system that Darian's given me. Like I am forever thankful for that because I feel like out of all the people that I know, I feel like he's the one that's seen like the rawest impact that it's had on me. And for the most part, I'm like you, like I try to put on like a facade, like, or, that everything's fine or it's not impacting me in a certain way. But you can only do that for so much.
Yeah, you can. You get tired.
And your body, like you start feeling it, take a toll, whether it be, you're drained, you're stressed, you feel, like you don't feel like you have energy, you feel like it's a sucky feeling.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I get stuck because I'm so much in my head sometimes. It almost feels like I'm in autopilot. And it's like I'm not in control of like my feelings or like my emotions, it gets to that point because like I beat myself up about some stuff that like I probably sometimes don't even have control of, and it's hard to kind of get yourself out of that mentality of like how because what I do whenever I am like hard on myself like that, Cruz, I literally like even when I'm like already being hard on myself, I go to the extra level and like I kick myself while I'm down, and I know you said like we're our hardest critic, and I say this when it comes to other things too, like baby steps, and I feel like it takes you recognizing in that moment like your actions and how you're being towards yourself.
Nice.
And how do you fix it? Like, how do you redirect it? When I used to work at a daycare, and I was with like the 2-year-old age range, and we always like to use the word like positive redirection. Like if they're doing something to hurt another kid, or if they're doing something disruptive, or that could harm themselves or someone else, we like to do like positive redirection and maybe like guide them baby steps, guide them into, something else, like if they're fighting over a toy or like, get their attention in another way and redirect them in a positive way, not just, yell at them and get onto them for doing something that they probably don't even know that they're doing wrong, and I feel like that's how we should treat each other. But unfortunately, we don't.
No, we don't.
Can you give me an example, though? Because I'm curious, because I know for me, my main thing, like why I'm so hard on myself is it is because of my PCOS, and I want to get to that in a moment. I'm curious what it looks like for you though. Like what type of conversations you have within yourself that you're like, girl, I gotta stop.
I feel like it can just go as simple as like what I wear to how I do my hair, how I put on makeup. Like for me, makeup is like I know it's so simple, but I just started wearing it because of like the podcast, and I didn't want to like just look like how I usually look. But it really makes me, I am really hard on myself because sometimes I put it on. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning. I'm still learning. But it's like, I tell myself, take it off. You don't deserve it.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to cry first.
I don't have tissues, but
No,
I
no, no.
have toilet paper.
Yeah.
But you need it.
But I feel like it gets hard, and it is just a more of an insecurity that plays a factor in me telling those things. But I feel like how I said in the beginning, it's kind of gone numb to where like I tell myself that constantly that it's a whatever. It's like it doesn't matter anymore. So I feel like that's just an easy example of how hard it gets, hard I am on myself. But another example too that I can give is like how I treat others, because like my my little brother, I would say for him, it's like yesterday he came back from school and he had the ACAP testing practice, and he came home, he really tired, and then I was there like trying to like, it's okay, take a break, rest, eat what do you want to eat, do homework later, just watch TV, just rest. But if it was the opposite, I would be like, no, you don't deserve it. You should start working because you need to get better. And it's like, you for me being so hard on myself, I feel like nobody had to tell me. It's just me in my head. So yeah. Do you have an example too?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get it. It's sad because it's hard to, it's hard to pull out of it in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I do it to myself all the time too. And I'm getting a lot better at it though. I am. Um, I feel like in the moments whenever I was like really, really hard on myself is when I got, how I said when I got diagnosed with PCOS, and I would blame myself a lot. I would blame a lot myself for not eating healthy enough, not
Mm-hmm.
exercising enough, not taking enough vitamins, not taking care of myself in general,
Mm-hmm.
And it was even harder whenever I went to try to get and figure out what was going on with me. And doctors were just dismissing it like, oh, their first question is like, okay, are you ready to have kids?
Mm-hmm.
If not, they would just put me on birth control.
Yeah.
And it almost makes you feel like you're broken. It makes you feel like you're unworthy. It makes you feel so many negative emotions. And on top of us, like being females already, that we already have that pressure on us in this world. But on top of that, like being diagnosed with that, it was just like an extra layer of those insecurities. And I felt so alone. I felt so alone. And in moments where I was feeling really bad, like I said, I would kick myself to the point where like,
Physically?
no, not
Okay.
physically.
It's because for some people we can get to
Oh,
other extremes. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I
I
mean.
see what you mean. I
Uh-huh.
see what you No, 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 no. Not physically, no. Um, just mentally,
Uh-huh.
emotionally, I was just very hard on myself. And I feel like women's health is not enough. There's not enough research
Mm-hmm.
in female and like a woman's health, especially the reproductive
System.
side. Yeah, there's not enough research, and it makes me mad because I feel like if it were men going through the stuff that we go through, they would have been cures. They would have been found, I don't know, types of medicine or remedies and stuff to heal and cure certain things that we go through. Um, there's not enough research, and it's sad because I feel like for me, PCOS looks different for a lot of people, but I feel like for me, from what I've seen, because I'm in like a lot of support groups online,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have it as nearly as bad as other people, as other females. And I do, like, I feel for them because it makes you feel very alone. And I feel like even that too with like having kids, like there's already a pressure on females on like a ticking clock, like, oh, you need to be married by a certain age, you need to have kids by a certain age, and it's almost like we put our worth tied to that. And it's frustrating, and there's a lot that goes behind it. I feel like I do blame the system and religion. I blame that because I feel like it's almost like expected, and if you don't want kids, there's something wrong with you. Or like you're frowned upon, or you're the odd one out, or if you don't want, or in the moment can't have kids, or it might look different for you in that moment,
To be honest, I feel like I would be the type of person who like, why don't you want to have kids? I'm gonna be honest, I would be that type of person. And now actually hearing you speak about it, it's like it can actually really affect you. And for example, I would like to, but in the future. But like for instance, my sister, I ask her. For example, I would ask my sister, and she's like, I don't want to have any. But at the same time, it's kind of like I'm over here kind of not pressuring her, but saying her, but you would have really cute kids, or you should do it. And it's kind of like I'm not respecting her boundaries in that moment, because there's might be another reason she might not want kids. And it kind of does make me realize how like I am overstepping that boundary, and might make her feel uncomfortable, or it might even make her feel like you said you don't know what's actually going on with them internally. So
yep, that's a big thing too. And I feel like I'm such a huge advocate for those type of questions because I'm going through it. I've been through it, and people do it not knowing that the harm that that question can cause, because you really don't know what someone's going through. You don't know if it's a decision that they have made personally for whatever reason, and you have no idea if they're actually maybe trying to conceive and
they can't.
And they can't, So I feel like it's really hard. But going back to your original question, how what it looks like for me, it's that. And like I said, it's gotten a lot better, because when I first got diagnosed, it was like I feel like I spiraled a lot mentally. And I feel bad because, like I said, Darian has always been such a great support system. But I feel like I'm even hard on myself to that point, Cruz, where like I would feel bad for opening up to him about what I was going through. Okay, I'm going to take this down.
No. You go.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. Because it's like, it's kind of, well, how I would perceive it is like you're taking him down with you.
Yeah. But the reason, like that was even like another layer too. Like it almost felt like I was being, what's the word? I was being, I don't want to necessarily say a bother, but something in regards to that field. Like I felt like, especially because he works a lot and he has a lot on his plate already. It felt like I was adding something else to that. And then it's almost like I would dismiss my own, here I go again. It's almost like I would dismiss my own feelings, to like not allow myself to feel that way. Does that make sense though?
Yeah, it makes sense. But I also see that maybe for Darian, taking care of you in that moment was like, for him, he would do it without like thinking, like he would be there for you.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And like that's actually like what he would always tell me. Like he would want me to be open, and tell him what I was going through, and like just open up so that way he could help me and like be there for me. But like even just to like vocalize it was so hard. Like even just to like, it was hard enough to think it, but like to vocalize it, like I couldn't get myself to do it. And eventually I did. And like I said, me rethinking and like thinking back how far I've come now. And it does work up emotions because it almost takes me back to that headspace.
Yeah.
And I would just say females are very strong. As females, and I feel like we don't give ourselves enough credit for it.
We don't. I feel like we're even harder because we have to work twice as hard. We have to prove ourselves twice as hard just for us to have a little bit of recognition, and that's actually sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible. I feel like how you just said. I never thinking about the questions that you gave me. I never really thought about it how it is hard especially as a woman. To be honest, it never came to my mind. But when I was reading those questions, it really gave me a headache. Like just thinking about it, because you're going. Well, for me, I was going back in my memories, and they're really bad. For other people, like I said, like how I even asked you, did you physically hurt yourself? Because it's like you kicked yourself. For other people, it can be other things. It can lead to eating disorders, physical. You're physically hurting yourself, and to other things. And I feel like without even thinking about it, with like thinking about it, I realized how hard I was on myself, and I was not nice. Like I was not nice. And if my sister was going through the same things that I was going through, I would not be like that. Because for other people, they express it differently, but for me, I was like physically, and to the point where I feel like nobody noticed. Because I don't want to drag anybody in it.
That's so valid. That's so valid. Because it even gets to the point where you feel guilty for even like feeling that way.
Yeah.
And like even opening up to like someone else, like it's almost like you're dragging them into your misery, is what it feels like, huh?
Or even right now, talking to myself, I'm being so hard on myself that I'm like, you're just exaggerating. That's how bad it is. That's why I don't like to think about it.
Like you try to minimize what you're feeling.
Because I tell myself, well, other people are going through worse things, or you don't deserve that, or you don't have the reason to even be feeling that way. And it's just like, it gets really hard because you're just being really mean to yourself.
Yeah. So I can definitely relate. And you're right, because how you mentioned, because that's how, when I noticed that I was being hard on other people, just how I was being hard on myself, like it hurt me. How I said, like, I project myself onto other people sometimes, how hard I can be on myself, I'll be hard on those other people. But what you said right now, that's actually something that I've actually tried to practice, like here recently, where it's like, would you, in those moments where I'm feeling down, like if someone that you love comes to you like that and tells you, all the stuff that they're going through, how would you react to them? How would you want, you would love on them, you would comfort them, you would want to receive them with open arms and love, and we don't do that to ourselves. We don't. And it's something good to practice. I feel like it's to put that into play so that way you can start treating yourself better with more compassion, because we're definitely too hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And do you feel like there's something else that you've tried that's helped you come out of that besides, keeping that in mind? Like if you would do that to another relative, is there something else that you would practice?
I feel like realizing how in those moments that I'm hard on myself, it's with like little things. Like go back to like wearing makeup or the clothes that I wear. And I do mentally tell myself that in 40 years, I'm going to look a lot different. And I'm not going to be, and if I don't do it now, when I'm 60, I'm going to be like, I should have. And I'm going to have those regrets. And I feel like I've already have a lot of regrets already that I just don't want to have anymore.
That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good shift.
Yeah, so that's why I said in the beginning, I'm kind of like numb to it, but thinking about it and going back through those memories, it is hard, and you like how we both get like teary eyed because it's a really tough patch that we go through. But at the end of the day, like right now, my mentality is I don't want to have more regrets anymore, and I tell myself because I feel like I'm hard on myself because I feel like I'm gonna get criticized. People are gonna criticize me, what doesn't matter what I do. So,
Yep, that's another good point too, because it's like it doesn't matter what you do, whether you take that risk or you don't, or whether you change in that moment or you don't, whatever it might be. People are going to be talking regardless of what you're
Yep.
doing, and that's something too that I've put into practice in my life too. It's like, who cares? Like, and I've said it to you before. Like, people don't pay my bills. People don't. They're not. It doesn't matter what they think. They have their own issues too that we probably don't even know about either. And another thing that's helped me is, I don't know if this makes sense, but like staying in the moment and not projecting myself into the future. Because like one of the things that I would think about is like, oh, with like for example, I'm being very vulnerable with y'all right now, whoever's listening, and you, even like the topic of like having kids, like that would be very like that's a very touchy subject for me, just because I know that it may look different for me and Darian whenever we are ready to have kids. It may look different. And I would try to project myself into the future. I'm like, oh, but what if I can't have kids? Or what if we can't? And what if we can't do this? And what if we can't do that? Blah, blah, blah. And like I would spiral. And the way I bring myself back and be more compassionate on myself when it comes to certain things like that, I'm like, I try to be in the moment. And the way I kind of like make myself feel better, I don't know if this is, a good tactic or not, but it's been working for me, is one, everything happens for a reason. Everything. Even though it may not look like it right now, everything happens for a reason. So I try not to project myself into the future, because one, I can't control what's happening in the future right now. I can only control what's going on right now. And just focusing on that and just listening to my body, protecting my peace. So if my body calls for rest, I'm resting. If my body calls for, drinking, I don't know, a lot of water in that moment, I'm going to drink water. I'm going to be, pouring into myself, surrounding myself with good people, good energy, and just being in the moment. Honestly, like I know that sounds a little cliche, but it's just, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older too, and I don't know anatomy or psychology yet. People talk about your frontal lobe being fully developed. Yeah. And I'm hitting 30 almost. So I feel like my brain chemistry is maybe like getting better, because I have noticed that those bad days where I was so hard on myself are minimizing, or they don't last as long. Instead of days, they may be moments, they may be hours now, instead of, a long period of like a week or a month where I'm just like, I've just been feeling crappy and just, I'm kicking myself and I'm just being hard on myself. Like I'm easier to retract, or I'm easier to bounce back. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I know myself more. There's more confidence that comes with age too. And I feel like with my PCOS too, I am treating it a lot better than how I used to treat it también. I'm learning my body more. So there's definitely like a rainbow through the storm, because I try to pour into that positivity, because I know at the beginning of the podcast I said I didn't really get poured into in the way that I would want to growing up. So like the mentality that I have now, it's like I'm pouring into myself now what I would have wanted as a kid.
And I feel like it also has to do with what you said earlier. Everything happens for a reason. Yep. So I feel like even might sound really horrible, but like going through those events in my life had led me to where I am right now, to how the way I'm thinking. For other people, it might be wrong. For other people, it might be right. But for me, I feel like it's just right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I hear you.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the important part, kind of wrapping up this episode. I feel like what may work for you may not work for me. I feel like it's really important to take the time to be compassionate with yourself and try to understand yourself. Try to, when you have the energy, when you feel like you're at a point where you can do this, try to see what it is that's why you're being so hard on yourself. Try to get to not necessarily the bottom of it, but try to, dissect it in your head. Because I feel like, and for me, that's what worked, to try to make yourself or be at a better spot. I don't know if that makes sense, to try to see where it comes from, so that way you can treat yourself in a better way, and maybe avoid certain things. Because I know, like, certain words might be triggering for you. Try to figure out why, and then I feel like it's trial and error too. I feel like it's trial and error, because there's so many things that I like try to like redirect myself in certain aspects that I'm like, okay, that's not working for me, and I feel like it's really important to get to know yourself. And then honestly, it is easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but don't project other people's insecurities onto yourself too, because I feel like sometimes that happens, like you lose yourself in that.
Especially if you're hanging around with the wrong people.
Hopefully us opening up, I say this all the time, hopefully us opening up helps somebody feel seen or helps somebody in any type of way. I feel like that's our mission in sharing our insecurities and our traumas. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If so, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Let us know of any comments, suggestions, down in the comments below. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.